You can be kind to people and you can be a good person, but like that's a different focus than trying to please them. Right? Being kind to somebody just means like you're doing your part to like foster the relationship. The rest is on them. Hi, I'm John Timmerman, and I've never been to Disneyland.
I'm Rob Schauger. Life is tough, but it's so much tougher when you're stupid.
And I'm Al Kutri, and I am against white underwear.
And we are the co-founders of the NoBull company. What's up, Buzz Nation? Welcome to I'm a Little Buzz, coming to you from inside Sharecuse Studios. Sharecuse is Syracuse's newest co-working space, combining creativity, comfort, and community. Check them out at sharecuse.com. This is the show where we bring a ridiculous amount of life to business while sharing beverages and stories that get us buzzed. If you are listening or watching us for the first time, make sure you hit subscribe because we have a new format. We're gonna be going live every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you subscribe because we're gonna be giving away some free shit on those shows. And we're only gonna be giving them away to subscribers. So check that out. But, Rob, what's getting you buzzed this fine, lovely day?
John, I'm glad you asked. This weekend was our 12th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm buzzed.
Sweet. What'd you guys do?
We went away.
Nice. Just away. Al, what's getting you buzzed?
This, my new Yeti mug, First Station Media Yeti mug, and I'm pumped. I love the way it feels.
Welcome to the club.
Cheers to
Welcome
that. To the family.
Cheers.
God, it feels
Let's
so
just
good.
cheers to everything on this
Cheers.
show. I'm getting buzzed about the new Los Angeles Rams logo. I am a geek. Listen, there's not much that I am like, I freak out about in life. I'm a pretty calm, cool, collected kind of guy.
Yes, you are.
But for some reason, the Los Angeles Rams, I don't even live in LA,
I know.
and it just gets me
Yeah.
in the heart.
I know. I see the posts.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, that's my one thing that
Every
like just
weekend,
gets
all
me jacked
weekend.
up. And so they got a whole new logo, which I wasn't, really,
But now you are.
but now I'm all in.
Fantastic.
There you have it.
So today's show, we're talking about how trying to please everyone is the quickest way to please no one. Great topic. But first, before we get into it, now is the time when we cheers to life, love, lots of laughter, and ending telemarketer calls with, I love you. Epic.
Try it.
And after that cheers, we're getting into the SippySip. Al?
Bang.
What's
Sippy
Sippy
Sip. You should all know by now. But it's words that I come up with several minutes before the show. Because that's how I operate. And the boys answer. The points do not count. They count for nothing. It's meaningless. But we have a lot of fun. Whoever answers first gets the point. But you both must answer.
Let's go.
1. Pistol whipped.
Ouch.
Pork rinds.
Fatty.
Delicious.
Dolly Parton.
Boobs.
Gonna be on Playboy for her 75th birthday on the cover.
Come on.
Is she going to be in the middle too?
She's gonna be all over it.
Like nude?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I read an article yesterday that she said she's still heavily considering it as long as it's tasteful and that the interview is good.
But she's going to show her.
75th birthday.
Wow. God bless her.
Shame on me for being pumped about that.
Listen, I'm actually pumped, not even in like a pornish way, but like just like
Dude, I
like a
love Dolly
queen bee, like boss
She's the
lady,
king.
75 years old, and Playboy wants to put her nude in the magazine.
Parton. Dang.
Get it,
Go
Dolly.
Dolly.
Oh my gosh.
Go Dolly. Go Dolly.
Make sure you tell me when that comes out.
Okay.
Moonshine.
Whiskey.
Strongest.
15th Annual Testicle Festival.
Blue balls.
Can that be my answer?
Yeah. It's a thing at Riley's.
Oh, it is?
It's real. It's the 15th annual.
I mean,
Yeah, Riley's, Park Street down the road from
I
me.
want to know more.
It's a testicle festival.
Very
Anyway,
curious.
look it up. Teat.
Milk.
Llamas.
Ah, that's a sheep.
It's not a sheep. It's a llama.
No, the ba that I just came out of my mouth was a sheep.
Is that a sheep or is that a goat?
Both?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Little Mermaid.
Great movie. Ocean.
Ocean.
Doesn't she swim in the ocean?
Lives in the ocean.
Oh.
Where'd your head go?
The next one.
Oh, you were on the next one already?
Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh.
I was like,
ouch,
she throw it in the ocean? Did I not get that part?
Owie.
Owie. Last one. Pucker up.
Buttercup. Yeah.
Oh, how cute. Now kiss.
Stop it.
Okay, that's it.
COVID kiss. All right. That was good. That was a funny one. What's up, NoBull Nation? You all know that our conference is getting closer by the minute. On April 8th, 2021, we are holding NoBull 2020 2.0 presented by Bankers Healthcare Group to teach you how to get more out of life and business. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers. Gary Vaynerchuk has built a conglomerate media company, $200 million ad agency, co-founder of Vayner Sports and a bunch of other crazy media companies. AJ Vaynerchuk, his brother, is the CEO of Vayner Sports, a new age sports agency. David Meltzer is the co-founder with Warren Moon of Sports One Marketing, a multi-$100 million sports agency. Constance Schwartz-Marini co-founded Smack Entertainment with Michael Strahan and Aaron Andrews. I mean, these are crazy successful people that are going to teach you how they've grown their businesses. And you can get a free ticket, $250 front section ticket. All you have to do is head to empathywines.com and order 12 bottles of delicious wine and use the code NoBull2020 at checkout, and bam, you get a free ticket. So if you love wine, it's fall. We're headed into delicious red wine season. We got red, rosé, white wine. Order 12 bottles of your favorite wine. Use the code NoBull2020 at checkout, and you will be sent a free ticket. Empathywines.com, NoBull2020 at checkout. We'll see you there. So we're talking about how trying to please everyone is the quickest way to please no one. Absolutely true. However, very difficult to get away from in all aspects, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
You know, this is a business-focused podcast with some life supporting it, and you know the balance between the two, right? So, I guess we'll start with the life piece because that is where most anything stems from.
That's where all things start.
All of them. And I will dive in because I spent the early, as I'm sure most people do, the early parts of my life when I became like a young adult, we'll say, or a teenager, right? Although teenagers kind of doesn't count. Like that's every teenager wants to be part of the group and things like that, right? So let's say, while that maybe isn't good, let's say when you're a young adult, when you're trying to please everyone, you're still trying to fit in, right? You're trying to find your way. I feel like that's human nature, is sort of trying to find your clan, right? You're trying to find your sort of group and your herd, or whatever the freaking 1,000-year-old version of us would do. But you're trying to fit in, right? So you're trying to please everyone. You're trying to be accepted. But as you start to get older, as I started to get older, you realize that pleasing those people literally doesn't matter towards your well-being, right? You can be kind to people and you can be a good person, but like that's a different focus than trying to please them, right? Being kind to somebody just means like you're doing your part to like foster the relationship. The rest is on them. And if you just pivot all the time to try to please them, that might not mean you're being kind to them, right? It's a different mindset. Do you guys agree? That like being kind and empathetic and a good person doesn't necessarily mean or doesn't go the same path as just trying to please somebody else.
They're two completely separate things.
Yeah.
You can be kind, loving, warm, the most amazing person and still say no to people and still not please people. There's been plenty of times where I did not please somebody, but I did it with kindness and love, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But
I think self-preservation.
The power of no. The power
Very good.
of no. The power of no is one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself.
Yeah.
In the world.
It's a type of self-preservation, I think, saying no and like your own mental health, your own physical health, like that's where that sort of line
Totally
should be drawn, if you know, or you should work on drawing that line of like preserving your own mental health and your own emotional health and not just sacrificing that to please everybody else all the time. I think that's where the danger, Will Robinson, comes in.
And I also think that even as so many adults, and sometimes we associate lying with like, little kids, they come up with excuses or they tell white lies or they come up with, as a teenager, you want to come to my party this weekend? They're like, no, I can't. I got to do whatever, and they come up because they don't want to feel the embarrassment of the truth, which I understand. But adults do this all the time. Like adults will come up with a million different excuses to get out of any sort of, who knows what. Let's use the party, for example. I think the importance of telling the truth, depending on the situation, but like 99% of the time, tell the truth, is totally okay. And nobody does that. So if you say, hey, you want to come over this weekend or you want to do something, you want to go to the game, I think it's okay to say, no, thanks for asking, but no, I think I'm going to just stay home today.
Yeah.
Or I think I'm just going to pass. I feel like I got to do some things around the house. Like tell the truth. Don't come up with a stupid lie like, oh, I already have plans. Just tell the absolute truth with love and kindness. And you will feel 1,000 times better about everything. A, because you're not a liar. And B, it just feels good. The confidence you get from that is amazing.
And the problem is with the whole like pleasing somebody versus like pleasing yourself is that oftentimes if you're true and you're kind and you're empathetic, the reason why somebody else might not be pleased is because of them, not you. Right? Like their own expectations, or, they feel offended that you don't want to hang out with them because they're insecure. It has nothing to do with, I should say it has nothing to do, but it's not you projecting that offensive-ness, or it's not you projecting like being like, an asshole for saying this.
Right.
It's just them being like, wait, they don't want to hang out with me, or, I thought I was going to here's an example. When you plan like a party or an event or something like that, you expect that people are going to want to come. And then if you get, the 2 or 3 people that you are really excited to come don't come, you're disappointed.
The vibe.
The party's a failure, or, you're not happy with the result, right? And that's because you had the expectations that they were going to come and that they wanted to come to this great party.
Which is why I don't throw parties.
There you go. It's like that, there's this power of reciprocation.
Yeah.
Is like when you put your hand out, I don't know what the statistic is, but it's high that somebody else is just going to shake. Maybe not during COVID now, but that went way down. That statistic went way down. But
terrible example.
The pre-COVID, the statistic was that most people would reach their hand out and shake your hand, or high five, same thing, like the power of reciprocation, right? So we have that expectation. And when that expectation doesn't happen, we become offended, right?
Totally.
But on the flip side, as we talked about, the self-preservation side of that, of like putting yourself first and being happy and comfortable with your decisions, is the quickest way to be confident and, be in a good mental state, right?
Yeah.
Shifting this to business, because I think this is really important. On the business side, when you're a company and what?
Did the heat get louder?
It sounds like it's getting tornado-ish in here.
Sorry.
So from a business perspective, being in the marketing world, like we see this all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But it even grows beyond marketing. It could be a company buying up other companies that are outside of their niche because they're trying to please every aspect of their customer, right? So maybe you have a customer, you're in the, you're selling shoes, right? You sell a bunch of shoes, you're a great sneaker dealer, and people love you for sneakers. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to start selling t-shirts too. You start selling t-shirts.
Yeah.
And
Because 3 people said, you should sell t-shirts.
Right? So you dump a bunch of money into selling t-shirts, all branded the same.
Yeah.
But people are like, why the fuck are you selling t-shirts? And they don't buy your t-shirts. Right? So like you start to go in other places because you think you can be everything to everybody.
Mhm.
Right? And that's one of the quickest ways to lose money, right? Is to not stay in your niche. I've experienced this at Good Monster. When we started, we would take on any job, anything. Like on one side, that's how we grew and started to build websites and started to get into social media, but we weren't good at it.
Right.
Like
That's the worst.
I was just learning.
Yes, men suck.
Yeah.
Or women.
Yeah. And that's also one of the reasons why it's taken us, this long to become successful.
Yeah.
Is that we weren't great at any one thing. We were good at a lot of different things. And so we didn't have that magical kind of thing that people were like, we need to go hire this company. Until recently, where we've started to niche down to helping, retail companies that don't have an e-commerce presence or B2B companies that haven't figured that out. Like we're the ones that you go to if you have a good foundation and you need to bring that online and start earning money, right? And even that's not super niche down, but it's just by doing that, we've been able to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for a lot of businesses that try to get into markets that they're just not supposed to get into.
And, with the business piece, and Rob, chime in whenever. I think a powerful thing that I learned a while ago was the no is super powerful as long as you still deliver a solution. So like, I can't tell you the amount of times that I turn down work or I say no, but I follow it up with literally my competitor and say like, let me set you up with this guy who is actually the best for this job. This is not my wheelhouse, but I got the guy that for you. And I set it up. I set up the warm connection, and it as long as no is followed up with still a problem solve, a solution, problem solve. What a great speaker. That's a key thing to do.
Yes. So both on the personal side and on the business side. So it's funny we're talking about this today. I was just listening to a podcast with Ed Milet, and his guest was talking about how all through her life she felt like she always had to say yes. It was out of obligation, right? So people started calling her, and she said, "Hey, do you want to go for a hike this weekend?" "No, I don't think I want to." Just no.
Because I don't like you.
It wasn't that. Just I just don't feel like going today.
Yeah.
Or
that's great.
Do you want to do this? No. And so I think the underlying fear sometimes with that on the personal side is they'll stop asking.
Yeah.
Now, if they're your real friends, they'll understand and they'll get it. So I think you need to follow that up with, "Hey, no, thanks for asking. Please don't stop, asking. Yeah. Just now it's just not a good time."
Yeah. Give people directive.
And I think so. And again, we had this conversation this weekend with some business friends, and I said, the older that I get, the smaller our circle of friends becomes.
Yep.
I don't want to spend time with people that don't have the same values. It's not the same interests that don't have the same values. That we don't bring value to each other, or we're just not on the same page with things. Because we're in a time of life where we're super busy, and like I just want to spend time with people who make me laugh, and we have fun together, and we have some things in common, but we're at least alike in enough areas to where that we're going to bring value to each other. And then it carries over the same way into the business side. And I've really felt like this nagging at me the last 6 to 8 months, which is, again, busy schedule. Like, we have to be intentional with our time. And so sometimes that means saying no to a meeting, or it's restructuring how the meeting goes. So, hey, I'm not going to take an hour out of my day to come meet somebody in person. Doesn't mean that they're less valuable. It's just like I can do that conversation in a phone call or a Zoom when I'm driving or something else. Just like I don't want to have the Zoom chat while I'm sitting at my desk, because there are certain things I can multitask with, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm saying no, like it's just not a good fit. Let's shift it here.
Yeah.
And do it that way.
I'm going to that little nugget of saying no, but following it up with the solution.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run that back one more time because it'll be a good tip.
Yeah.
And I will say it better this time.
Sure.
So anyway, we can all discuss it. But in many cases, and I learned it a long time ago, you can say no if you're not the person, if you're not the right person for the job in relation to business. Then say that.
Right.
Be humble about it and say, no, this is not my wheelhouse. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm actually going to refer you to somebody. So you can say no. Saying no and then following it up with an actual solution for them. You can set them up. I've set my clients up with my competitors, and it's a huge win. Like, it's a huge win. So you say no, and then you follow it up with an actual solution, and it's like you never said no at all.
Yeah.
You're a huge, it's everybody wins in that situation.
And I want to stick on this too, because I think this is the crux. What does crux mean?
Cruxed. Is it with a T at the end? Crux?
Crux means like the
This
meat,
is the meat and potatoes.
Good. Okay, that's what I meant it to mean.
I like crux though.
Crux of the discussion is that, right? So pleasing everyone is pleasing no one, essentially, right?
Correct.
So, let's hone this into the business aspect. I absolutely love that tip. I think that's probably one of the greatest takeaways from this discussion. And particularly in business, right? We have entrepreneurs watching this, entrepreneurs starting a side hustle, like how to get a little bit more out of life. And without a doubt, the natural way to go is to dive into whatever anybody asks you to do.
Of course.
Right? So I started Good Monster with a video show. And then the video show got picked up by a bar, and the bar was like, we want you to do this every week. And we're like, sure. And then that bar referred us to a friend of theirs that wanted a website. We were like, sure. Like, our first year of work was probably dog shit. And it was just figuring it out.
I
right?
said yes to fixing an air conditioner.
Yeah, I can do that.
We're
Yeah.
a marketing company.
Yeah. And it's like where you get into this weird, I know because I've been through it, and you've probably been through it, and you've probably been through it. But those early years of being an entrepreneur, you're thinking, I want to leave my job, right? I either hate my job or I just want to do this so much that I need to make money, I need to pay bills, I need to do this stuff. And while that is absolutely a focus you should have, is making money and paying your bills and being able to have that financial kind of baseline. If I were to go back and do that over again, I would 100% go as deep as I could and then take your advice and refer everything out, or go find somebody that did it really well. Because here's what happens. It happens now when I do it. In fact, yesterday somebody reached out and they're like, hey, do you do mobile apps? We have this massive mobile app project.
Yes.
Yeah. The 5 year ago me would have been like, yes, and gone and find somebody to farm it out to.
Right.
And sorry, this is taking long, but this is really important. So if I were to do it again, I would take your advice and I would go find other partners to refer out to. Not even take control over and say like, yeah, we can do that, and then go find somebody. I would refer it out, and I would have stayed in video production
all day,
because today we would be a fucking TikTok, YouTube, masterful, production company. We're on our way there anyways.
Yes.
But, that would have allowed us to go super deep and become an expert at what we really knew deeply.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, and said no to that mobile app. We do not do that. I'm not confident that I can take your $50,000, $75,000 or whatever it is and do this.
Right.
So instead, I listed a few loose connections that I have, and I'm going to refer them out to it. And then one more cap to the story is that a client of ours who we love and they're very happy with us ended up going and hiring another company to do their website, right? And it was early on in our relationship. No. It was right when we came into the relationship. They had already had the wheels moving.
Gotcha.
Right? And so I didn't want to come in and be like, no, we'll do it.
Sure.
It was already sort of happening, right?
Gotcha.
And unbeknownst to us, unbeknownst to our client, they had said yes to this website project. Big website project. I mean, we're talking about a global company here.
Yeah.
Big website project.
No clue what they're doing.
They had no development experience. Like the back end of the website,
my God.
they had never done it before. And so they They went out and they hired it out to another vendor. And then they managed the project.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
so fast forward 3 months, actually more like 5 months until it was actually done. And our whole entire e-commerce digital world got imploded because this thing wasn't done right.
Oh my gosh.
Like bad stuff, like major lost revenue, major broken stuff. And that is a perfect example of why they should have said, we're really good at this brand stuff, but we don't do websites. Because now their reputation is shit.
Yeah.
I was totally that guy though. When I was first starting, I was totally that guy to just say yes and then figure it out. My phone is recording everything. I'm like a born again businessman. I've been reborn into the business world.
Yeah, NoBull.
Because I am 100% against say yes and figure out how. 99% of the time. There's 1% of the time where I do think it's okay to be like, to dive in and figure it out because that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be at the expense of your clients. It should be on your own time, with your own ventures, with your own things. And if it fails, it doesn't matter. When your clients are involved, never, ever say yes and then go figure it out.
So one step further with that is not just when it's not in your wheelhouse. It could be in your wheelhouse, but it's not profitable. Yeah. So many companies take on jobs today or work today, like just to say they've got it, like
just to please other people.
We're going to have this. Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's strictly ego driven. And they're like, this. It's like that thing you were just talking about.
Yeah. It's
a global company. We're going to take this on.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Pepsi's our client.
Yeah. So, and for what? Like, actually, if it's not, so that goes, it's a deeper dive into if you don't know your numbers and you don't know whether this job can be done profitably or not.
I know.
Then say no. Like, hey, look, this is just not a good fit for us. We do this type of work, but this particular project.
Yeah.
Is just not going to be a good fit for us. And we'd rather just say, no, and then have you be unhappy because if there's something you need later on down the road, we'd rather you come back to us instead of burning that bridge.
Boy, that takes a big heart inside to be able to do that.
Here's the problem that very few people see or don't see. Here's the problem that people don't see is they oftentimes the project that they said yes to because they either want the client or they want to learn how to do it.
Yep.
And so now's our chance to get that case study. We've done this plenty of times in the past. The problem is they don't see that it will most likely cost them more money in the long run. Perfect example is the one I just gave you because that person or you, if you're out there thinking about taking on this job that you've never done before, you will get things wrong. And you will have to play catch up. You'll have to go back and fix it. It will cost you more in labor or disaster or reputation, whatever it is. It's going to cost you
above
in the long run. Yeah. You will lose money most likely by trying to figure it out on a new account or a new service or a new product even.
Don't do it.
So
just went through
resist the urge
with a consulting client of mine, and they took on this job, high profile client. The thing is there was no brand or name recognition to doing this work because of how they model their company overall. So, but got the job, and it was a huge time suck. And I said, how quickly did they jump on your price? Oh, they got back to me right away. I'm like, so you know what that means, right? You left way too much money on the table.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, you had to go out and invest in specific equipment for that project, which was the right thing to do because that's what you needed to get the job done. And they also did the right thing. The problem would have been the owner was doing the work. The problem, number one, starts when the owner doesn't do the work and the employee comes in because they're not going to do it as well as the owner does. Problem number one. Number two is you're losing money on the job. Number three, it's eating into a time frame where you could be doing other profitable work or spending time with family, or in this case, sleeping. And so he did the right thing. He's like, okay, I see what's going on. I walked him through it, and he gave them a 30-day notice and finished it up and paid off the equipment and walked away.
I'll tell you though, I mean, the joy of getting the big account, the joy of getting the new account, whatever it is, right? The joy,
that's the hustle.
The joy of that is great. However, it cannot compare to the pain of admitting to that account that you don't know what you're doing, or that you screwed up, or that you're in over your head.
Right.
Like, it doesn't compare. The pain of saying like, oh shit, this is awkward. We're actually clueless over here. Obviously, you're not going to say that, but like the pain of that far outweighs the joy of getting
You
it.
might have to say that. Like that is the conversation, the phone call that I had in this previous example. That is the phone call. It's
awful.
Between us, the client, and this other particular vendor. Like that was literally the phone call where they were like, we actually don't know
what to
do. Like we're not really sure why this didn't happen. We don't really know the details. I'll have to get those. Like it was just literally 20 minutes of like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what to do.
Oh my God.
And like, luckily we're in the position where we can come in now and go fix everything. But it was just a fucking disaster.
Yeah. And then when that does happen, you do need to be able to sort of relinquish or refund or do your due diligence, back to the client. I had this is not like, business. It is business actually. I had a contractor who I need to get my porch redone. And so this contractor comes and he was like super confident. He was like, oh, this is a piece of cake. Walk in the park. Now me, everybody knows like, my hands are only for gentle caresses and playing music. I don't do
no contracting.
I protect my hands. So I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. This guy comes, tells me everything. He's like, I'm going to use plasterboard over here and put caulk over there and whatever, So he starts. He goes, take maybe 2-3 days. Great. Thanks, Jim. And 2 months went by and he worked on it a little bit every day. And finally, and I wasn't paying attention. And finally I was like, and it was a disaster. I mean, a disaster. Like, I think he literally put used cardboard up at one point to insulate the freaking poles or whatever. And I go,
are you YouTubing everything you're doing?
I was like, this seems like, let's talk. And we like sat down on the porch, the unfinished porch. And I go, you don't know what you're doing, do you? Like, this is,
oh no.
You don't know what you're doing. And I wasn't mean. I wasn't like, get off my porch, you fuck. And he literally looked at me and he goes, no, I don't. And so I just said, okay. I said, well, obviously, like, I'm not going to pay you, right? Like, that's off the table. And he's like, that's fine. I'll just leave it how it is. He left the job. And we had this.
Was there any discussion as to like why he took it on, or like what did he?
And then he went to walk in the park.
The discussion was exactly what we're talking about, and he didn't disclose this to me, but he was basically a new contractor, new business, had no idea. Without his superior looking over him, he had no idea how to lead a project or how to problem solve on the job. Once he started taking my porch apart, he was like, "Oh, well, that's different. Never saw one of those before." And it was one of those things where he claimed to be the expert on it, wasn't. And we had a nice conversation. But he just had to sit there and basically be like, listen, pal. Yeah. I literally don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
There's to kind of round out the show a little bit here, we've all given some tips into, don't please anybody. It's easier said than done. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's easier said than done in life when you're trying to make friends, you're trying to be part of the group, right? It's easier said than done when you're a new business and you're trying to gain some traction. But who said the 10,000 hour rule?
I don't know who said it, but
right. So there's whoever said it.
Become an expert.
The 10,000 hour rule is you need a minimum of 10,000 hours to become an expert, right? Not to say you have to wait for 10,000 hours to be able to sell your services, but it has to be comparable. So if you are just starting your business out there or a side hustle, or you're diving into a hobby where you want to eventually turn it into a money-making thing, you need to put in the time learning. YouTube, Google, experiment on your own, put the time into interning, in your own business before you start to do that for some sort of value compensation.
Right.
Because the moment somebody pays you money or they give you something, even if it's bartering,
there's an expectation.
There is an expectation.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think, again, one of the most important things out of this podcast is that, to your point, the moment you say, yes, I'll do that,
you better be ready
for some sort of value compensation, you've opened up the door now for lost expectations or failed expectations, right? Which means now you are going to have to either figure it out very quickly and be prepared to lose resources and lose your own money in order to complete the project or the thing or whatever it might be. Listen, this could be anything. This could be sewing a fucking pair of jeans. You said, yeah, I'll do it for $50. And then
is that how Jackson Jovi got started?
I don't know. No. And then they come in too tight or they come in too big or too short or whatever like that. You've just fucking ruined a pair of jeans. And now you have to say sorry. You have to pay them back.
Do another pair for them.
Do your best to say no until you can confidently say to yourself that I'm going to be good at this.
Right. Where I'm the perfect guy for the job. I can't wait to do it because they're going to love it.
Yep. If you can't say that, charge a lot less or nothing until you get good.
Yep.
In the long run,
the power of no. Graphic.
It will.
Power of no.
The power of no. It will pay off.
And to balance things, right? Sometimes you do please other people. Sometimes you can be the expert. It's more important to be kind than it is to be right. And there are times where it is important to set, and this is more of a life thing, to set aside yourself and to please someone special in your life, or to do something kind, or be uncomfortable personally for a bit so that you can make someone else happy. So find those balances. And
Amen.
It's okay.
Good.
Buzz Nation, we are super pumped to have you with us Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Don't forget, Tuesdays is our live show on YouTube and Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify for all of you that like to listen to your podcast instead. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, because every Tuesday we'll be going live and giving away free stuff to our subscribers. Until then, cheers everyone to life and business. May we all prosper in both.
Yeti Club. Are we going to get sponsored by Yeti? Not a terrible idea.
No, not at all. Relatively good idea, actually.